Hey, what's up everybody? Stormnado's here. Welcome back to another weather discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about the severe weather outlook for tomorrow, March 10th, and we're going to talk about really what to expect and what you should do in the event of severe weather. We're going to cover all of that today in today's video. And yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting because the SPC has updated their outlook for March 10th, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets updated again first thing tomorrow morning. Again, check out Ryan Hall, y'all YouTube channel. I'm sure he's going to throw out another video before this. And I'm sure there's probably already one out. So if you haven't checked out the latest video, go check it out. It'll be a lot more in-depth than what I'm talking about here. But overall, I just kind of want to get the awareness of the severe weather tomorrow so then you're aware, just a general basis of what to expect for the Illinois area. This is going to mainly focus on the Illinois area. I might glimpse over at the also severe weather threat that's in Texas as well. But for the most part, I'm going to try to stick in this video with just the Illinois severe weather threat because it is in my neck of the woods and all that fun stuff. So let's get right into that. All right, I'm going to zoom out here really quickly. We're going to overcap this severe weather threat for tomorrow. So essentially, we have two enhanced risk areas. The one that we're mainly going to focus on is the one here in Illinois because I think that one will have a lot more potential. I think a lot more storm chasers are actually going to be out here around the Chicagoland area and down near Springfield and Peoria. So we're going to focus on that, but we also have to keep in mind too that severe weather threat. So really quickly, I am going to overcap the Texas outlook here. So Dallas all the way to Del Rio, you guys are going to be under a enhanced risk. Well, Dallas, not specifically west of Dallas, you guys will be under enhanced risk. Dallas, everywhere else around there, all the way from Oklahoma, Norman, Kansas City, you guys are going to be underneath a slight risk for tomorrow. 10 million people are underneath the enhanced risk. 36 million will be under slight risk, and 32 million will be under a marginal risk for tomorrow. Now, the parameters that we're really going to be looking at is going to be the tornado. This is going to come with a 10% hatched risk, also CIG-1. Again, if you guys don't know any of the parameters, we now have conditional intensity groups, which essentially is a new way to kind of give a little bit more severity tone as to what we're actually to expect. And it kind of categorizes things a lot more neatly, not only for meteorologists, but also for storm chasers and also just anybody who's really into weather and understands it. But even just a breakdown for the normal everyday person like myself, who's still learning a lot of the stuff. Essentially, it breaks down to three tiers. We have CIG-1, CIG-2, and CIG-3. If you kind of see a CIG-3 and a 10%, kind of rings a lot more alarm bells because you will end up max to expect for a tornado. It would be an EF4+. So, aka, you kind of get that tone of, oh, more likely to be like a high risk day. You'll kind of see this. But yeah, but for an enhanced risk for these entire areas, we're going to be looking at CIG-1 pattern. This is max expected EF2. So essentially strong tornadoes are possible if there's enough energy that a supercell can grab onto. So an isolated storm gets out ahead of that line, doesn't get surrounded by a bunch of other storms. It'll have the potential to really ramp up and kind of get really, really strong. The percentage of that is about 20%, and it can happen with any storm mode. So meaning supercells, embedded supercells, squall lines, all that fun stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, but for Dallas, Dallas and all the way down to Del Rio, you guys are going to be more expecting that 5% hatched risk area, along with 2% as well for Indianapolis, Oklahoma, Kansas City, Tuscaloosa, and Wichita. But yeah, so there's that. I got that covered. Essentially, anything that kind of gets up, a lot of this, the one that's down south kind of be more in a embedded line system. So that's from at least what I was seeing with the model runs. We'll go through it when I zoom out again. But we're going to really quickly put our eyes over here because this is where my neck of the woods is. And also a lot more of that thunderstorm juice and tornado energy as well. We also got to keep in mind too, we do have a wind threat as a 15% wind risk. So the winds are going to be blowing. Again, it's going to come with the straight line damaging winds from the cells kind of lining up afterwards, after the initial firing of the storms. And then obviously, good old hail. Yeah, this is going to be 2-inch hail supercell. 30% hatched. This is a new one for me too, as well, to see with the new conditional intensity group in play, or the CIG, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see how accurate this new model run is, kind of, or this new system works out. So we'll be able to see that all in play. But as you can see, we have a bunch of these hashed areas. So we do have a 30% in play for 2-inch diameter hail, and this is mainly going to come with the supercells that kind of get really robust and out there on their own. But yeah, and then everywhere else kind of 15%, and then everything else around at 5%. So there we go. All right, we're going to keep this up here just so you guys can keep that in mind. We are going to dim this down a tad bit so you guys can still kind of see this polygon. All right, cool. So what are we going to expect? So tomorrow, we're going to go to HRRR run. Oh boy, I don't know why Radar Omega does this, but it does. But anyway, we're going to go to 18Z. This is for tomorrow, remember. Now, we're going to be looking at a time of 5 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, we already see a little bit of rain that's popping up below here where my cursor is. Now, I would say the window will kind of be more to be aware of from 2 o'clock all the way down to the evening. But for the most part, I think there will be a cap from 2 to 5. And then after 5 o'clock, I think that cap will kind of get lifted and storms will start firing off. This will be a nocturnal event. And also, if the cap stays on longer, it'll be more likely a nocturnal event. And storms will take a little bit longer to fire off. Kind of like we saw the other day in Oklahoma. I think it was that Friday severe weather outbreak that we had. It took a while for those storms to really initiate. So I'm not going to say we are going to see that, but if it does, just be aware of that. So if you were expecting, hey, the storms were supposed to fire off here, if they don't, they don't. You know, we got to just keep in mind that Mother Nature has its own ways. But the model runs can only tell us so much. And that's kind of stuff that we're kind of playing with. But I do expect to actually see severe storms actually do fire off around the Chicagoland area and even down near Bloomington and Peoria. Just kind of really get their stuff together and kind of issue tornado warnings and stuff like that. So I do expect that. I will not rule that out, especially an isolated tornado or two or more. Especially if one gets its stuff together and it really ramps up, it'll go into a stronger tornado, so up to an EF2, again, like we're kind of expecting. Okay, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock near Pontiac, we have a cell. This is just an idea, by the way. Not going to actually what we're going to see on the radar, but it gives you an idea. If this cell does come true, this will be the most dominant isolated supercell that comes out in the system. And if it dominates the atmosphere, you already have that little beam effect. And normally, during severe weather seasons, if we ever see on model runs a beam, normally kind of indicates a supercell. So if we see this and this is one dominant cell, oh boy, this one's going to really take up a lot of the energy. And I'll show the significant tornado parameter, the CAPE, and essentially what is tornado juice, and kind of see how much energy is kind of getting picked up here. But yeah, other than that, it's 8 o'clock. We're kind of more in the nighttime phase now. Again, remember, we spring forward, so it's going to be a little bit lighter now as we kind of chase into the evening. But yeah, we do have cells that fire off near Peoria, Davenport. Those are going to make their way northeast. Again, you're going to kind of expect these storm motions coming from the southwest, going to the northeast, and maybe also an east motion too. And that's just for the entire Illinois area. You guys will kind of see this motion as it kind of comes into play. And then the system kind of really rolls through. Once it kind of gets into this state, we're kind of maybe see these kind of conglomerate into a squall line, or just really just get congested. And once it gets this, it's kind of losing space to kind of really get dominant in the atmosphere, which is normally a tendency with a lot of these storms. Now, if the storm is pretty dominant in the atmosphere and one kind of goes into another storm that's already producing, let's say, a stronger storm, it will kind of intensify and it will keep intensifying. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a few of those cells kind of do that, but I'm not going to rule that out. And again, I'm going to be live tomorrow. So as soon as 4 o'clock rolls around, or as soon as I want to say 4:30, because I literally get out at 4. As soon as I get home, I'm going to turn on a live stream and we're just going to watch these storms fire off for the evening. And we're going to be live until there's no more severe weather for the Illinois area, because that's kind of my neck of the woods. And again, I'm really trying to not only inform you all here in Illinois, but also for friends and family and all that stuff. Yeah, but if we do see a prominent a warning that does get issued elsewhere outside of Illinois, we will cover it. I will also suggest you to follow Ryan Hall, y'all. He will be live tomorrow, covering everything from Chicago all the way down to Dallas. So the whole 9 yards. So I do recommend checking out that, or Max Velocity, and really any of the weather creators. So 9 o'clock. Okay, cool. We got some storms going through. Some of these have a little bit of a bean look kind of on these model runs. But yeah, if they stay separated for as long as they can, they will really kind of get a run for their money. And then kind of 1 a.m. storms are still going. There's still severe weather threat. Now, you can see on the top left behind my webcam, you see there is snow. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going to really bring a lot of moisture. Oh boy, look at this. It is ice and snow town, baby. Yeah, this is March severe weather kind of setup. This is kind of what we're going to be expecting coming out of the winter, going into spring. And as we kind of warm up, we'll kind of see these really cold, really strong, and really warm systems kind of merge together and kind of pull these two masses together. And that's why we're getting this set up for tomorrow. Again, this is going into Wednesday at 11, and this will kind of set up for a winter weather setup, probably for the Northeast. But again, not going to really try to push that. We're going to really focus on that. But yeah, so as of 4 a.m., kind of storms kind of taper off. I will say, though, as we kind of get more into the later half of the evening and into the overnight, I want to say after midnight, the kind of threat kind of like simmers down. There may be a few storms here and there that will be a little bit severe, but for the most part, mainly I want to say from that 5 o'clock to midnight, that's kind of really the window that we're going to be hyperfixed on. At least that's what I'm going to be hyperfixed on until a lot of these storms kind of pass through. And then on the backside, we kind of get this really cold air that kind of comes in behind it. I don't expect snow to come on the back end, but look at this model run. It's already trying to hint at possible back end snow. Now, for the Chicagoland area, I'm just going to kind of say this because we're all from here, and knowing when it's March, the odds of this actually happening are very low. But it is a good chance that if it gets cold enough and it comes that far south, we might get clipped. And obviously you can see aurora underneath some ice sheets, and then maybe a heavy band of snow that comes in intermittent periods. Now, that is only if the dew point gets down enough below freezing. Do I think this is going to happen? Probably not. I think it's going to stay well into the Wisconsin area, but there is a very good possibility, and we'll know more tomorrow as the kind of the event kind of unfolds and kind of we get there and all that fun stuff. But yeah. All right, cool. So we broke down what we're looking at. Okay, cool. We reviewed that. Now let's take a look at the significant tornado parameter. And oh boy, I think this one's going to be an interesting one to look at. But we're also going to take a look at what the jet stream is doing. So we're going to back it up. All right, cool. So we're looking at 850 millibar. And we're just going to skim this forward. We're going to see where this jet stream is in play. You can already see it developing over the plains here and kind of get more into tomorrow. And then look at that. The winds kind of pick up around 6 p.m. Okay, look at that. So we do have a low-level jet that's kind of flying through here, all that fun stuff. And it does look like it does get more and more intense as the night goes on. Now, again, any of these storms that do pick up on this jet stream, there's going to be low-level wind shear. That's what the National Weather Service is predicting. I would not be surprised if there is storms, if they get their stuff together, they will go and rotate and they will go down. So we're really just going to keep an eye on that for the most part. Okay, cool. Now let's look at supercell composite. Let's back this up again. All right, 5 o'clock. Look at that. Look how much supercell energy that's there. Now this is again also same way to kind of view thunderstorm fuel and all that stuff. But look at this. This is numbers that for March we don't tend to see. We're numbers up in the 20s almost, and that is a lot of energy. So if any of these storms really capitalize on this, oh, look at that, 6 o'clock. Yeah, look at that. It kind of really ramps up. Any of these storms that really capitalize on this supercell composite, it will really kind of get their stuff together and it'll go. And as these storms kind of eat up at it. Now, I think because the way how this is run, the storms are really going to be above this line here, which means they're already capitalizing on a lot of this energy. Now, this is actually even fun for interesting for me to look at because it gives you an idea of what to really expect. Okay, what are we talking about? Thunderstorm fuel. This is the surface-based cape, aka thunderstorm fuel. How much moisture and energy that's in the air. What is the source of fuel? Okay, we're looking at 5 o'clock and we're already seeing spots south. We're looking anywhere between 1,000 to almost upwards of 3,000 joules per kilogram. So if there is moisture that does get up there and it capitalizes on it, oh boy, it's gonna fuel off of that, and it kind of just gets eaten up by these storms as they kind of move along. Again, this is going to be supported by the Cape. It's going to be supported by the SRH. It's going to be supported by the low-level winds. Now, I'm going to pull up the significant tornado parameter. This is kind of gives you an idea of like, it takes all the model runs and kind of composite it into the likelihood of a tornado. And so as the night goes on, the numbers kind of go up and we get all the way up to a 4. Now, there's some spots here, like, for example, this random spot in Indiana, almost up, pretty much up to a 5. Unless there's actual cell that's there and it actually taps into it, it will actually come into fruition. But a lot of these are kind of capitalizing. Now, there is this one spot here at 9 o'clock. If a cell taps into this, oh boy, look at that inflow. Look at that energy that goes into it. There's a lot that we can actually expect from here. Now, I'm not going to fearmonger. I'm not going to say anything. In my opinion, I think we'll be all right. But again, keep in mind, if a tornado does touch down, there will be a let's see, well, we're at a 10% hatch, so meaning 10% of a 25-mile given point that a tornado can touch down. So within any given point, and within a 25-mile radius, a tornado can touch down. So the odds of it being you is very low. So just keep that in mind and just have a preparation in mind. Have a helmet, have shoes, just be weather aware, have your phone charged, backup batteries, anything that you need in case you do need to go seek shelter down below in the lowest floor of your room or an interior room farthest away from the doors and windows and anything from the outside world. You want to be in the most interior spot inside on the lowest floor of your room. So yeah, just kind of want to stress that out. Again, we're getting into the start of tornado season. We're going to keep going. You know, we haven't even hit May yet and we're already talking about tornadoes early on in March, and we already had tornadoes that touched down in Michigan, in Oklahoma, and it's already, this is how you know tornado season is here. So yeah, so we're going to be talking a lot about severe weather, and we're going to be getting better at looking at these runs and having weather discussions and all these stuff and kind of just reviewing all the weather together. And yeah, so that's kind of that for the most part. There's really not much else for me to cover, but yeah, like I said, again, if these cells do get their stuff together, it's going to be one interesting day tomorrow. And again, like I said, I'm going to be live starting at 4:30 at the latest, if not 5 o'clock at the earliest. But yeah, we're gonna really start seeing these storms, and I'm personally excited because I've been wanting to look forward to talk about weather and kind of watch these storms kind of fire off. Again, they're very beautiful when they're out in the open. It's not affecting anybody, but in the moment it kind of affects communities. That's kind of where it hits home, and it kind of is just like, oh, okay, there's severity to this. There's a lot of tone to it. So, but yeah, so just be weather aware, have a plan in mind, and all that fun stuff. I really don't think it's going to be like a massive tornado outbreak. I really don't think that. But yeah, it is something to keep in mind of. Again, it's really early in the season. And we really don't know what to expect until we kind of really see it kind of really truly unfold into tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of chasers out here. Reed Timmer, Brandon Kopic, Vince, all those storm chasers are all going to be out here. So you know where to find them. And kind of just like a mini shout out for all of them because they are really truly eyes on the ground and they will give you a visual of what's kind of happening. So yeah, that is it for that little weather discussion. Again, if you guys want to see more weather videos and all that stuff, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to plan on doing this all year. But yeah. And also, actually, I am going to look down here really quickly in Dallas. And wow, look at these cells. Yeah. I mean, same thing for Del Rio. Same thing. If these cells kind of really pop off, which I'm pretty sure I will watch some of these. But even the ones that are outside of this enhanced risk area, if they get their stuff together, oh boy, they're going to be pretty long tracked. And also, this may call for maybe a 1 or 2 long track tornadoes. That's not ruled out the possibility, especially if they're out on their own and they capitalize on all the energy. But yeah, considering the fact that there's a 10% hatched up in Illinois and not down here is kind of surprising. But also, then again, the higher the risk kind of really doesn't mean a lot until you kind of really see it unfold. I mean, like the other day, we just had a 5%, and there were still storms that were spawning well into the 2% range and just dominating the atmosphere. So just kind of keep that in mind. Even if you're not underneath any of these hatched areas underneath the CIG-1 level, for those that are in the 2%, just be weather aware. Kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, for the most part, we're kind of just taking it one step at a time and all that fun stuff. So yeah. But anyway, like I said, if you guys want to see more weather discussion, hit that like button down below. Hit notification bell to be notified when I go live or whenever I post another weather video. And yeah, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.